Hello, I'm Jenny Dye, author of the Brighton Chronicles. A lot of people ask me why I chose to write about the Civil War and Reconstruction. The answer is because the pizza restaurant wasn't open yet. Okay, so that's only part of the truth. It is true that the pizza restaurant I wanted to eat at in my then hometown of Richmond, Virginia, wasn't going to be open for another hour, but there is more to the story. It was a beautiful day, so I decided to go for a walk. As I strolled along the treed streets of Richmond, I saw a sign indicating there was a reenactment happening that day for the Chimborazo Hospital. Well, I had no idea what that even was, but I decided since I had time to kill, and because I knew the site offered a fabulous view of the James River, I decided to go up the hill to discover what it was all about. Little did I know how much it would change my life. I had already decided to write a historical fiction novel, but I had absolutely no idea what I was going to write about. How do you decide what fascinating historical thing you want to spend months writing about? There were so many stories that deserved to be told. Anyway, up the hill I went. When I arrived on the bluff overlooking the James River, I saw several large tents that had been set up to represent the hospital ward, where tens of thousands of Confederate soldiers were taken care of during the Civil War. I could hear voices coming from inside one of them, so I went in. I was delighted to see a young woman dressed in 1860s clothing and a circle of 20 to 30 second graders sitting around her on the ground. They were listening with rapt attention. I listened along with them, enjoying learning more about what had happened at the hospital, but also horrified by the hardships and suffering that had been endured there. When the young lady finished speaking, she asked if anyone had any questions. Well, I waited to see if any of the children would respond. When they remained silent, I raised my hand. Yes, the young woman asked pleasantly. I asked what I thought was an innocent question. Are there any of the documents left from the original hospital? I love original documents because they haven't been doctored yet. Well, she looked exasperated, gave me a look that said she doubted my intelligence, and said, "Well, no, of course not. They were all burned when the Yankees came down here and set fire to Richmond." Well, I didn't know a lot about the Civil War at that point, but I knew that wasn't true. I pondered whether to challenge her, and then looked again at the group of second graders clustered around her, listening, believing they were hearing the truth. I raised my hand again. I could tell she did not want to acknowledge me, but she did. Yes. I spoke calmly. Isn't it true that the Confederates set fire to Richmond? Her eyes flashed with anger as she snapped, "Well, they wouldn't have done it if those damn Yankees hadn't been here. Oh, talk about continuing to fight the war." That was the moment I decided to write about the Civil War. As I looked at all those impressionable children who were being poisoned with ignorant bias they would carry on, I knew I had to write books that would tell the truth. Little did I know how very little of the truth I actually knew at that point, or actually to this very moment. Every book I write causes my mouth to hang open in disbelief as I learn the truth of our history. My passion to reveal it within the lives of characters you fall in love with only grows with every book I write. You know, when I started this series, I thought I would write just 5 books that would tell the story of the Civil War. If I knew very little about the Civil War, I truly knew nothing about Reconstruction, and I knew nothing. When I finished book number 5, The Last Long Night, I thought I was done. I had no idea if there was enough during Reconstruction years to actually write a book around, but I decided to at least take a look. What I discovered in my research astonished me. I knew I had to keep writing, telling the stories that most Americans have absolutely zero knowledge about. It has been a fascinating journey. Every book has challenged me. Every book has changed me. I can hardly wait to see where history takes me next. I'm glad you're on the journey with me. I look forward to being part of your life for a very long time. Bye-bye.